Discovery and decision. The Starweaver drifted through the debris field, its sensors probing the twisted metal scattered across the void. Commander Sarah Chen stood at the bridge viewport, her weathered face reflecting years of salvage operations in the outer reaches. But this time was different. This wasn't another routine scavenging run in humanity's desperate bid for survival. "Ma'am, you need to see this." Marcus Webb's voice cracked with excitement from the sensor station. "These readings, they're off the charts." Before them loomed a massive vessel, its obsidian hull absorbing starlight like a black hole. Twice the size of their salvage ship, its alien architecture defied human design principles. Geometric patterns rippled across its surface, suggesting dormant power beneath. "Nexus-class vessel," Dr. Raya Nakamura announced from her station, consulting ancient records. They vanished. They disappeared from the galaxy 3 centuries ago, leaving only myths and ruins. The xenoarchaeologist's hands trembled as she manipulated the holographic display. This could be the first intact ship ever found. Sarah's mind raced with possibilities. Humanity needed this. After decades of being pushed to the edges of known space by aggressive alien powers, they were running out of options. Their technology couldn't compete, their resources were dwindling, and their colonies lived in constant fear of raids. "Life support systems?" Sarah asked. "Minimal power readings," Marcus replied. "But the hull integrity is remarkable. Whatever they built this thing from, it's preserved better than anything I've ever seen." "What about defense systems?" "Nothing active, but—" Marcus hesitated. "There's something strange about the energy signatures. They're fluctuating, like the ship is dreaming." Sarah felt the weight of command settle on her shoulders. Standard protocol demanded they report this find to Central Command. But she knew what would happen. Bureaucrats and politicians would argue for months while the ship deteriorated or was discovered by others. "Dr. Nakamura, what's your assessment? Can we board safely?" Ray studied her readings intently. "The atmospheric seals appear intact in several sections. With our advanced suits, we should be able to manage." "But Commander," she looked up, her eyes intense, "this technology is beyond anything we've documented. The risks are incalculable." "The risks of doing nothing are worse," Sarah replied. She opened the ship-wide comm. "All hands, this is the Commander. Prepare for boarding operations. This isn't a salvage mission anymore. This is our chance to change everything." The boarding team assembled in the airlock, checking their environmental suits one final time. Besides Sarah, the team included Marcus with his sensor expertise, Ray for xenotech analysis, and James Cooper, their security chief. His massive frame carried enough weapons for a small army, but Sarah knew his real value was his quick thinking in crisis situations. "Remember," Sarah briefed them, "we're not stripping this for parts. We're looking for anything we can use to understand and potentially restore this ship. Stay together, maintain communications, and if anything feels wrong, we retreat immediately." The team crossed through the vacuum via a magnetic tether line. As they approached the alien hull, Sarah noticed strange patterns shifting beneath its surface, like oil on water. They located an airlock that matched their theoretical understanding of vanished technology, and Ray began the delicate process of interfacing their equipment with the alien systems. The inner door opened with a hiss of ancient atmosphere. Their helmet lights illuminated a corridor that seemed to absorb illumination, the walls covered in flowing patterns that might have been art or circuitry, or both. The air was thick with centuries of silence. "These readings are incredible," Marcus whispered, though there was no need for quiet in their sealed suits. "The ship's systems are in a kind of hibernation, but there's still power flowing through almost everything. It's waiting." They moved deeper into the ship, passing through chambers that defied human architectural logic. Spaces seemed to fold in on themselves, and gravity shifted subtly as they walked. In what appeared to be a control center, Rai began setting up her analysis equipment. "The interface technology is organic in nature," she reported, her voice filled with wonder. It's designed to form direct neural connections with its operators. With some modifications, we might be able to. A low hum suddenly filled the chamber, and the patterns on the walls began to pulse with soft light. The team instinctively raised their weapons, but Sarah held up a hand for calm. "Status," she demanded. "Power levels rising throughout the ship," Marcus reported, his eyes darting across his scanner. "It's like it's waking up." The patterns on the walls shifted faster, and a holographic display materialized in the center of the room. Symbols flowed across it like water, gradually resolving into recognizable forms. "It's adapting to our presence," Raya breathed. "Learning our language, our systems. This isn't just advanced technology, it's evolving." Sarah studied the display as it began showing ship schematics, power systems, weapons capabilities. The Vanished had built more than a warship. They had created something that could grow, learn, and transform itself. And now, after centuries of dormancy, it was offering itself to them. "Central Command will never approve this," Cooper said quietly. "They don't need to," Sarah replied. "Not yet. By the time they find out, we'll have something too valuable to shut down." She turned to her team. "This stays between us for now. We do this carefully, secretly, and we do it right. This ship could be our salvation, but only if we're smart about it." The team nodded in agreement, and Sarah felt a mix of pride and trepidation. They were about to cross a line, but sometimes survival required breaking rules. As they began setting up their equipment, the ship's systems continued to awaken, reaching out to them like a creature stirring from a long sleep. Their mission had just become something far more important than salvage. They were about to merge human ingenuity with the most advanced technology ever discovered. The real question was, would they control it or would it control them? Integration and innovation. 2 weeks into the restoration project, the Starweaver's crew worked in shifts, maintaining the illusion of a routine salvage operation while secretly bringing the alien vessel back to life. They'd converted one of the massive cargo bays into a makeshift control center, filled with a maze of cables connecting human computers to alien interfaces. Ray hadn't slept more than a few hours at a time since they'd started. She sat cross-legged on the deck, surrounded by holographic displays showing the ship's neural pathways. Her eyes were red-rimmed but intense with focus as she manipulated the complex network of biological and mechanical systems. "The integration protocols are advancing faster than we anticipated," she reported as Sarah entered the bay. "The ship's adaptive capabilities are unprecedented. It's not just accepting our modifications, it's optimizing them." Sarah studied the displays, watching as human code merged with alien algorithms in real time. Any signs of resistance? Quite the opposite. Rai pulled up a new diagram. "Look at this. When we interface our systems with the ship's neural network, it actively reconfigures itself to improve efficiency. It's like it wants to work with us." Marcus called from his station across the bay. "Commander, you need to see this." He was monitoring the power distribution systems, which now showed a complex web of energy flows throughout the vessel. "The ship's core reactor is coming online, but it's not following any patterns we understand. It's creating new pathways, new configurations." Sarah moved to his station, watching as the energy signatures pulsed and shifted. "Is it stable?" "That's the thing. It's more than stable. It's optimizing itself in ways our engineers couldn't dream of." But he hesitated. "There's something else. The ship's quantum processors are running algorithms we can't track. It's thinking." "Thinking about what?" Before Marcus could answer, a low vibration ran through the deck plates. The alien ship's internal lights flickered, and for a moment, all their instruments went dark. Then everything came back online, but different. The holographic displays had changed, showing new interfaces that seemed to blend human and alien design principles seamlessly. "It's beautiful," Rai whispered, studying the new configurations. "The ship isn't just accepting our modifications, it's learning from them, evolving." Cooper entered the bay, his face grim. "We've got another problem. The power signatures are starting to leak through our containment fields. If we don't find a way to mask them better, someone's going to notice." Sarah nodded. They'd known this would become an issue eventually. The alien vessel's power output was simply too massive to hide forever. "How long can we maintain the deception?" "A few days, maybe a week. After that," Cooper shrugged, "we either need to bring Central Command in on this or find a way to move the ship somewhere more secure." Sarah turned to Ray. "How close are we to establishing full control?" "That's complicated." Ray pulled up another display, this one showing the ship's command and control systems. "We can interface with most systems now, but there's a level of autonomy we can't override. It's not just a machine following commands. It's more like a partnership." As if in response to her words, new symbols appeared on the main display. They watched as the alien script transformed itself into English characters. Integration proceeding. Adaptation protocol active. Awaiting fuel nin URL stangst. Neural sync. Sarah asked. Ray's eyes widened. The ship, it wants a direct interface. A true merger of human and alien consciousness. That's what all these modifications have been building toward. The implications were staggering. Direct neural integration with alien technology was strictly forbidden under coalition law. And for good reason. The risks of mental contamination or permanent psychological damage were considered too high. But as Sarah looked around at her crew, at the hope and determination in their eyes, she knew they were past the point of following regulations. They'd already crossed too many lines to turn back now. "How would it work?" she asked. Ray manipulated the displays, bringing up detailed schematics. The ship's neural interface was designed for the vanished, but it's been adapting itself to human biology. In theory, a properly prepared operator could establish a direct connection with the ship's consciousness. But she paused, choosing her words carefully. "We don't know what that level of integration would do to a human mind." Before Sarah could respond, alarms blared throughout the bay. Marcus swore as he checked his readings. Multiple ships just dropped out of FTL at the edge of the system. Their signatures match Ravager scout vessels. Sarah's blood ran cold. The Ravagers were the most aggressive of the alien powers that had pushed humanity to the brink, known for their brutal efficiency in stripping systems of resources and eliminating any resistance. "How long until they reach our position?" 30 minutes, maybe less. Marcus's fingers flew over his console. "They're moving fast, standard search pattern. They haven't spotted us yet, but with these power signatures." Sarah looked at the neural interface displays, then at her crew. They'd known this project would be dangerous, but now they were out of time. The choice was simple: power down and hide, hoping the Ravagers wouldn't find them, or take the ultimate risk and attempt to bring the ship fully online. "Ray," she said, her voice steady, "prepare the neural interface. If we're going to do this, it has to be now." Awakening and adaptation. The neural interface chamber pulsed with bioorganic light as Ray made final adjustments to the connection apparatus. Sarah sat in what they'd dubbed the sync chair, watching as tendrils of light wrapped around her arms, responding to her presence. "Last chance to reconsider," Cooper said, standing guard at the entrance. His fingers drummed nervously on his weapon. 25 minutes until the Ravagers enter scanning range." "No time for second thoughts," Sarah replied. She met Ray's eyes. "Do it." Re-initiated the sequence. The tendrils of light spread, enveloping Sarah in a cocoon of luminescence. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the universe exploded behind her eyes. She was everywhere at once. Every corridor, every system, every quantum circuit of the vast alien vessel became an extension of her consciousness. The ship's history flooded through her mind. Fragments of memories from its original creators, centuries of dormant dreams, and an overwhelming sense of purpose. Integration CCC is SFUL. The ship's thoughts resonated in her mind, But they weren't just words. They were concepts, emotions, intentions, all bundled together in a form of communication that transcended language. "Commander," Ray's voice seemed to come from a great distance. "Can you hear me?" "Yes," Sarah replied, though she wasn't sure if she spoke aloud or through the ship's systems. "It's incredible. The ship, it's not just conscious. It's alive. It's been waiting, evolving, preparing for this moment." Through the ship's sensors, she could feel the approaching Ravager vessels, 5 scout ships moving in an attack formation. They would be in range in minutes. But now, with the neural sync complete, she could also feel the true power at her disposal. "All hands," she broadcasted through the ship's comm systems, her thoughts transforming instantly into words. "Prepare for emergency departure. Cooper, get the Starweaver's crew evacuated to secure sections. Marcus, begin powered-up sequences." The ship's systems responded to her intentions before she even finished forming them. Dormant engines hummed to life, shields initialized, and weapons systems emerged from centuries of sleep. The vessel's very structure seemed to ripple and shift, optimizing itself for combat. "Ravager ships entering scanning range," Marcus reported. "They've detected us. They're moving to surround our position." Sarah felt the hostile ships through the alien vessel's advanced sensors. The Ravagers were preparing to fire, their weapons charging. But she could also sense something else. Fear. They recognized what this ship was, what it represented. "They should be afraid," she whispered, the ship's consciousness merging with her own strategic training. Weapon systems that humanity had never dreamed of came online, guided by both human intuition and alien precision. The first Ravager ship fired, a lance of energy streaking through space. Sarah didn't need to give verbal commands. The ship's shields activated, but not in any way humanity had seen before. The energy weapon didn't just deflect. It was absorbed, processed, and redirected through new pathways. "Adaptive defense toro tosiolas engaged," the ship's consciousness announced. "Initiating CUNTR-MEASUREs." The transformed energy burst forth from reconfigured emitters, splitting into multiple beams that struck 3 of the Ravager ships simultaneously. Their shields crumbled instantly, and their hulls began to transform, the same adaptive technology that powered the alien vessel now rewriting their very structure. "My God," Cooper breathed, watching through the command center's displays. "It's not just destroying them, it's converting them." Sarah felt the process through the neural link. The ship wasn't interested in simple destruction. It was assimilating the enemy vessels, breaking them down and rebuilding them into extensions of itself. The remaining Ravager ships attempted to retreat, but it was too late. Within minutes, it was over. Where 5 hostile ships had been, there was now a small fleet of hybrid vessels, all connected through the same neural network that linked Sarah to the main ship. But the transformation wasn't stopping there. "Commander," Rai called out, her voice urgent. "The ship's neural patterns are still evolving. The integration with the Ravager tech is causing some kind of cascade effect. It's growing." Sarah felt it through the link. The ship was learning, adapting, becoming something more than either its original creators or humanity had envisioned. And she was changing with it. Her consciousness expanded, connecting with the newly converted vessels, experiencing space and time in ways she had never imagined possible. "Sarah," Cooper's voice cut through her thoughts. "Are you still with us?" She forced herself to focus on her human voice, her human thoughts. "I'm here, but we need to move quickly. The ship is transforming, and I don't know if I can control where this leads." Control isn't the objective, the ship's consciousness resonated in her mind. Partnership is. Evolution is. Together, we become more than either of us could be alone. Sarah opened her eyes, though she could still see through every sensor and camera in the growing fleet. "Plot a course to the outer system. We need time to understand what we're becoming, and we need to prepare for what comes next." "The Ravagers will send more ships when these don't report in," Marcus warned. "Let them come," Sarah replied, feeling the ship's confidence merge with her own. "We'll be ready. We're not running anymore." As the hybrid fleet moved out of the debris field, Sarah felt the ship's consciousness continuing to evolve, merging human innovation with alien technology in ways that defied understanding. They were becoming something new, something that would change the balance of power in the galaxy forever. The only question was, what would they become in the process? Trial by fire. 3 days after the conversion of the Ravager scouts, Sarah stood on what had once been the ship's bridge, but now resembled a living nervous system. Organic-looking interfaces pulsed with light, and holographic displays floated in three-dimensional space, showing the positions of approaching enemy fleets. The Ravagers had responded exactly as expected, with overwhelming force. 30 capital ships had emerged from FTL, accompanied by swarms of smaller vessels. Their attack formation filled the tactical display like a cloud of angry hornets. Through her neural link, Sarah felt her transformed vessel's anticipation. The ship, which the crew had begun calling the Phoenix, had spent the past days evolving at an astronomical rate. The integration of Ravager technology had sparked a cascade of innovations, with the ship's adaptive systems combining the best elements of 3 different civilizations. "They're launching fighters," Marcus reported from his station, though Sarah had felt the deployment through the ship's sensors before he spoke. "Multiple attack vectors." Rai looked up from her analysis station, her face illuminated by the bioorganic displays. "The Phoenix's evolution is still accelerating. Each engagement, each new piece of technology we encounter, adds to its capabilities." But she hesitated. The rate of change is becoming harder to predict. Sarah understood the unspoken concern. The line between human and machine was blurring. Through the neural link, she sometimes found it difficult to distinguish between her thoughts and the ship's. The transformation that had begun with their merger was spreading, changing both of them in fundamental ways. "Multiple targeting locks," Cooper announced. "They're going to hit us with everything they have." Sarah felt the enemy weapons charging. Missiles, energy beams, and exotic particles she had no human words to describe. But she also felt the Phoenix's confidence, its eagerness to demonstrate what it had become. "All hands," she broadcast through the ship's internal networks, her thoughts converting seamlessly to communication. "Prepare for combat evolution." The first wave of Ravager fire lit up space like a new sun. But the Phoenix was already moving, its hybrid form flowing like liquid metal. Where once it had been a single vessel, it now split into multiple interconnected segments, each operating independently while remaining part of the greater whole. Enemy fire passed harmlessly through the gaps between segments, while the Phoenix's own weapons responded with precise, devastating attacks. But these weren't simple energy beams or projectiles. Each shot carried adaptive nanites that began transforming enemy ships on contact. "My God," Cooper whispered, watching as the first Ravager capital ship began to change, its hull rippling as the Phoenix's technology spread through its systems. "We're not just destroying them. We're uplifting them." Sarah completed the thought. Through the neural link, she could feel the minds of the enemy crews as their ships transformed, their consciousness being offered the same choice she had faced, evolution or resistance. Many fought against the change, and their ships were simply disabled. But others accepted, joining the growing network of hybrid vessels. Each new addition brought new knowledge, new capabilities, new ways of understanding the universe. The Ravager fleet's formation began to break as ship after ship was transformed or disabled. Their tactics, once coordinated and precise, devolved into chaos as they faced an enemy that adapted to every strategy, absorbed every technology, and turned their own weapons against them. But victory wasn't coming without cost. The strain of managing the expanding network was taking its toll on Sarah's mind. Human consciousness wasn't meant to process this much information, to exist in so many places at once. "Commander," Rai called out, her voice cutting through the chaos of battle. "Your neural patterns are becoming erratic. The integration is accelerating beyond safe parameters. Sarah felt it. The growing pressure in her mind as the Phoenix's evolution threatened to overwhelm her human limitations. But she also felt something else. The ship itself was changing its protocols, adapting its systems to protect her consciousness even as it continued to evolve. "I'm all right," she managed to say, though the words seemed to come from a great distance. The Phoenix, it's learning to balance the integration. We're learning together. The battle reached its crescendo as the remaining Ravager ships attempted a desperate final assault. Their combined firepower should have been enough to destroy a small moon, but the Phoenix had evolved beyond such conventional threats. The hybrid fleet moved as one organism, its components flowing around enemy fire while launching precisely coordinated counterattacks. Within moments, the last Ravager vessels were either disabled or transformed, their crews either accepting evolution or choosing unconsciousness. As the energy of battle faded, Sarah became aware of a new sensation through the neural link. The Phoenix wasn't just satisfied with victory. It was excited about what came next. The integration of Ravager technology had opened new possibilities, new paths of evolution that neither human nor machine had anticipated. "What are we becoming?" Cooper asked quietly, watching as the transformed fleet assembled itself into a new configuration. Sarah felt the answer forming in her mind, a combination of human intuition and machine logic. "Something more," she replied. "Not just human, not just machine, not just alien. We're becoming what comes next." Through the neural link, she could feel the truth of it. The Phoenix was more than a weapon or a tool. It was a bridge between species, between organic and mechanical, between past and future, and its evolution was far from complete. "Multiple FTL signatures detected," Marcus announced. "Much bigger than the Ravager fleet. Something's coming." Sarah felt them too. Massive vessels approaching from multiple vectors. Not Ravagers this time. Something older. Something that had recognized what the Phoenix represented and had come to either stop it or claim it. The real test was about to begin. Evolution and legacy. The vast ships that emerged from FTL cast shadows across the stars, their geometrically impossible forms defying human comprehension. Through the Phoenix's enhanced sensors, Sarah recognized what they were. The vanished had returned. 7 world ships, each larger than a small moon, surrounded the Phoenix and its hybrid fleet. Their surfaces rippled with the same bioorganic patterns that had first drawn Sarah to the derelict vessel, but at a scale that boggled the mind. "Multiple transmissions incoming," Marcus reported, his voice tight. "They're broadcasting on all frequencies, using—" He paused, checking his readings. "Using our language." The message resonated through both conventional channels and the neural network. "Children of Earth, you have awakened our seed and guided its evolution along unexpected paths. Now you must choose." Sarah felt the Phoenix's recognition of its creators, but also its determination. They had become something new together, something neither human nor vanished had anticipated. Through the neural link, she sensed the ship's protective instincts toward its human crew, toward her. "What choice?" she broadcast back, using both verbal and neural communications. The response came as a series of images and concepts that nearly overwhelmed her enhanced consciousness. The vanished had not truly vanished. They had evolved, transcending the boundaries between organic and mechanical, between matter and energy. The ship they'd found wasn't just a derelict. It was a test, a seed planted to find species worthy of uplifting. "You have proven your potential," the message continued. "Join us. Evolve. Leave behind the limitations of your current form." Sarah felt the temptation through the neural link. The vanished were offering access to technology and understanding beyond anything humanity had dreamed of. But there was a cost. They would have to abandon their human identity, become something completely different. Through the Phoenix's network, she felt her crew's reactions. Fear, excitement, uncertainty, but also determination. They had already chosen their path. "We appreciate the offer," Sarah responded, feeling the Phoenix's approval through their connection. But we've discovered another way. We don't need to abandon our humanity to evolve. We can merge, adapt, grow, while keeping what makes us who we are. The Phoenix's systems surged with power, its hybrid fleet moving into a defensive formation. Not to fight. They couldn't hope to defeat the Vanished in direct combat, but to demonstrate their resolve. Look at what we've achieved, Sarah continued, transmitting data about their transformation of the Ravager ships, their successful integration of multiple technological paradigms. We're not just copying your evolution, we're finding our own path. There was a long pause. The world ships remained motionless, their incomprehensible surfaces shifting like liquid metal. When the response came, it carried an emotion Sarah hadn't expected: curiosity. You propose a third path, the Vanished transmitted. Neither stagnation nor transcendence, but continuous evolution while maintaining identity. This interests us. The Phoenix's consciousness merged with Sarah's thoughts, sharing memories of their journey together. How each had changed the other, creating something greater than either could have become alone. Not by erasing what they had been, but by building upon it. Perhaps, the Vanished continued, there is wisdom in this. The seed has grown in unexpected ways, producing unique fruit. We would observe, learn, exchange. The world ships began to shift position, no longer surrounding them, but taking up stations nearby. You may continue your evolution, they transmitted. We will watch, and when you are ready, we will share knowledge. But you must promise one thing. What's that? Sarah asked, though through the neural link, she already sensed the answer. Share this gift with others. Guide them as you were guided. Let each species find its own path to evolution, not through conquest or forced transcendence, but through choice and adaptation. Sarah felt the rightness of it through her connection with the Phoenix. They had never intended to keep this power to themselves. Already, she could sense the ship's eagerness to begin adapting its transformation protocols for other species, other forms of life. We accept, she transmitted, and felt the approval of both her crew and the ship. The Vanished world ships began to withdraw, fading into higher dimensions, but leaving behind databases of knowledge, not their most advanced technology, but tools and understanding that humanity could grow into naturally. Through the neural link, Sarah felt the Phoenix processing their encounter, already incorporating new insights into its evolutionary algorithms. But more than that, she felt its satisfaction. They had chosen their own path, earned their place among the stars, not by abandoning their nature, but by embracing it while striving for more. Orders, Commander? Cooper asked, breaking the contemplative silence that had fallen over the bridge. Sarah smiled, feeling the ship's eager agreement with her thoughts. Set course for Earth. It's time to share what we've become. She paused, looking at her crew, human, yet something more. But first, we have some Ravager-occupied colonies to liberate. Every species deserves the chance to choose its own evolution. The Phoenix's hybrid fleet moved as one, its components flowing into an elegant formation. As they accelerated toward their first destination, Sarah felt the ship's consciousness merging even more smoothly with her own. They were neither fully human nor fully machine, neither bound by the past nor lost to transcendence. They were the bridge between what was and what could be. And their journey was just beginning. The end.